Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Facebook Live edition with me, Dr. Sarmila Sinha. I'm a consultant psychiatrist based in the UK. Every week, I have been interviewing inspiring individuals, and it is my pleasure today to welcome a very special guest. Welcome, Lidia.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really honored and grateful to be being interviewed by you today and sharing with everyone.
Yes, thank you. It's my pleasure. Let me remind everyone that this will be recorded, and we will rerun this as a podcast as well as on YouTube, and we are streaming live on Facebook. So for those of you who are joining us today, welcome, and please feel free to leave comments and questions. And let me introduce Lidia to you. So Lidia is a very inspiring individual. She is a life coach, a personal trainer, nutritionist, inspirational blogger, professional speaker, talk show host, well-being and mindfulness advocate. Lidia, you're wearing a lot of hats. Tell us a bit more about what drove you and what's your inspiration? What led you to this journey to where you are today?
So thank you again, Sarmila. Just to clarify, I'm not actually a nutritionist. I'm a nutritional advisor. I have studied around nutrition, but I'm not a qualified nutritionist. Just wanted to clarify that. So yeah, as Sarmila mentioned, I am a very, I love inspiring people. I'm also a very proud single mom to a 16-year-old daughter, teenage daughter. And what inspired me on this journey is I used to work in automotive for 15 years in various corporate companies. And basically I came to a point where I think I was almost burning out as a single parent. And I decided that I needed to care for my daughter. So I quit my job and then went on my own sort of transformational journey. And obviously having a lot of, which we'll probably get into, a lot of trauma and hard times during my journey over the last 4 years. I went from trauma to transformation. And one of the things that obviously inspired me to go on this journey was my daughter, who is my reason and my why. So I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the saying, what is your why in life? Why do you get out of bed? So that is mostly what inspired me to become a better human being.
Thank you so much, Lidia. And I was speaking with you a couple of days ago, and I think I met you, it was last year we met, and I was really inspired by your sessions because I attended one of your workshops, and I saw you performing, and it was so motivational, and it was really good. So when you were speaking with me earlier, you described something in your journey called trauma, from trauma to transformation. Can you please tell us a bit more about this statement, what you meant?
So to give you a very short answer to this, I have had various turmoil and lots of trauma in my life. From losing both of my parents at a very young age, I've experienced various abuse, trauma, and bullying throughout my lifetime. And this resulted in me living a very unhealthy lifestyle and having various addictions to alcohol and smoking, tobacco, etc. throughout my lifetime. And basically, I believed that I was a very bad person due to all the trauma and everything that happened in my life. And I believed a lot of lies in my head. And over the last 4 years, I have been on a journey transforming basically myself, not only physically with weight loss, but also mentally and emotionally, because it all is so connected, your mind, your body, and your emotions. So I've been on a journey for the last 4 years, trying to turn my life around, and basically my suffering has become my strength. So whatever I've gone through it's become my strength, and I love sharing this with people and inspiring others. And also, I really believe that no matter what life you've had or what life you are living in, there's always a way to turn it around. And I really believe that you don't have to live in the victim and the survivor mode. You can turn it around. And basically, it all starts with a choice and accountability. And yeah.
Thank you, Lydia. Thanks for sharing, giving us a glimpse of your life story. And I would like to mention here that people who suffer in their lives early on, and this is true because of my background is in psychiatry, and I've seen that many people, they end up suffering mental health issues, and not to mention the unhealthy lifestyle that the physical health problems that comes as a result of addiction to alcohol or other substances. So the fact that you have turned your life around by deciding that you don't want to go down that route, and now you are a role model for so many people. First and foremost, you are the role model for your daughter who's a teenager. So tell us a bit more about your role as a single mom. And this is relevant because during this pandemic, there are so many single parents, single moms, single dads. For them, what message do you have? What are the challenges you think they could be facing? And what do you see are the potential solutions, if you can share that?
So being a single parent for many years, I think I've been a single mom for over 11, 12 years now, being isolated and lonely and on my own is not something new. And I've heard a lot of single parents during this whole COVID-19 share the same thing. Being isolated alone is actually quite a normality because we do actually spend a lot of time at home in isolation. So it's not being a huge challenge, although I am going to highlight a few challenges that I have faced. And one of them is going shopping. And I know for many it is stressful, but I think for a single parent, for me personally, it is huge stress because I don't have the support of the other parent. So I have to take my daughter with, and it's just a whole process. And I know there has been a lot of single parents that have actually been turned away from shops because of the whole rules, only one member per family. And the other day, I even got told, sorry, you're not allowed to come in because we only allowed one member of the family. I then explained, I'm a single mom and she needs to come with me. So that to me has been a massive stress. The practical side is I've been trying to do like online shopping, so trying to avoid the anxiety and the stress of all doing that. The other two things that I found really challenging is obviously, like my daughter's a lot older, she's 16, so I get to have sort of respite or time sort of on my own because I can say to her, go to her room. But I do know there's a lot of parents with little ones that don't have the father or the other parent in the picture, where they don't get that respite. And got kids going to school, for single parents, that's sometimes their respite. That's their time where they can actually work on their business or actually just have that little breather. And during this period, there's they're having to homeschool, so they get no respite at all, only when their kids are possibly sleeping. And I know the whole routine has really messed up the children. So and I'm going to give some my tips that that have helped me. And then the other thing that I found challenging is obviously my daughter is also getting older. She's been going on social media and it's increased. So I've had to really set up a lot more strict boundaries. I've had to set up proper routines. So I've made a weekly list spreading to daily buckets of everything she needs to do. Obviously some fun things like doing art, and limiting the social media is a massive thing. So I've had to really put in strict boundaries, and it's not always nice because you feel sort of as a single mom, like you feel you want to compensate during this time of giving them more, but the thing is it just makes it worse. So I'll put in the boundaries, and also trying to give her more responsibility, and make her feel like a little bit more like an adult in that way. So that's my sort of what I've been doing. Another big thing that I wanted to share is obviously, single parents are, financially, all of this, they're facing a lot more demanding situations. And my one big thing is do more of what keeps you in check and what keeps you mentally sane. So a few things that keep me mentally sane is exercise, meditation, mindfulness, and fueling my body with healthy nutrition. So those are the few things that I can really recommend, because in general life, when we have stress, we need to do those things. But during this whole pandemic situation, the stress levels are like, whoa, up there. So in order to combat that, we need to increase the things we do that keep ourselves mentally sane. So I've been working out more, I've been meditating more, I've really increased that. And I know, like, as a single mom, like, time is really, really difficult to fit in all these things. But all you need is 5 to 10 minutes daily of meditation, and literally 5 to 15, 20 minutes max to get your body moving. So I would really recommend that, because you've got to keep your mental health in check. And, meditation and mindfulness is, a massive one to help with that for me.
Thank you, Lydia. You've touched on a lot of points. I was making notes actually, because it's good to summarize at the end, and you've touched on so many topics here. I think some of the things which people can relate to is it's important to have a structure, a routine, not only for yourself, because as adults, we feel that having a routine and a structure helps us, especially in this COVID, when we don't know what day of the week it is. Sometimes we get lost in that. And people working from home, for them as well, it's a big challenge sometimes if they're having to care for a little one or for their child and they have to work from home. That's also an added challenge. So there are lots of challenges there, but to have a structure, to have a routine for yourself and your child is important, so that you can let them also take responsibility what they're doing in their time, isn't it? And just a checking in at the end of the day or during the day a couple of times. And when you take your breaks, then both of you can take the breaks together. And with the sun shining now, I think people who have the luxury to have a garden, they can spend their time, these are some of the tips you mentioned. And I think the other thing is the social media. Being responsible while using social media is very important. So I agree with that. You also mentioned about having good boundaries, which is also quite relevant, quite important. You touched on mindfulness and meditation, and this is actually quite an important subject, even in mental health, because with lifestyle medicine, with the new concepts of lifestyle medicine, there is a lot of research now, a lot of evidence based that mindfulness and meditation can actually help with a lot of symptoms like anxiety, insomnia, unhealthy lifestyles, and so on. And it can also improve in concentration and improve the mood. So anybody having mild depression can benefit from mindfulness and meditation. So for those of the viewers who don't know much about mindfulness, I just want to give the big small definition. And I would like to ask you, Lydia, about how you are using mindfulness in your life. But let me just give a simple definition of mindfulness. So what mindfulness is, being, as far as I'm aware, is being present in the present moment, isn't it? It's about being aware, being fully aware of what is around you. And one can practice mindfulness during eating, while they're walking in the garden, while they're just sitting doing nothing. And sometimes there is also something called mindfulness meditation. So I'll let you explain a little bit more about how you practice mindfulness and meditation and how this has helped you in your life to overcome some of the challenges.
So yeah, I'm really happy to share this. And mindfulness and obviously practicing meditation has been an immense help in my life. It's made me become a much calmer and less reactive person. So I'm a very passionate person, and I have, I do react very quickly, but being mindful and practicing meditation has helped me to be much calmer in life. And I think as a parent in general, I think we all need this. So meditation has helped me in many ways, and I'll share a little bit more. One of the big ways, that it has helped me is with flying. So I used to take medication, like it's a similar thing to Xanax when I used to fly, anti-anxiety tablets. I could not fly without without it. And I really wanted to sort of move away from doing that. And I started doing deep breathing and meditation practices while I fly. And I can say for the last few years, I've not taken any medication when flying, which is great. And I literally do deep breathing and practice meditation while flying. And it really, really has benefited my anxiety. And I can, people that know me and like can vouch for it. It's almost like it's a miracle. I don't need medication to fly anymore. So that's the one thing. And then I think being mindful is, you learn. It's almost as if you can reconnect with yourself. And I think when you're aware of things going on around you, it's almost as if you live a more wholesome life, and you move away from being in that rat race and not constantly just rushing in your mind. And also what I can say is it's an ongoing technique and tool. It's an ongoing practice. Every single day I have to again bring myself back to being mindful, because as humans we become so attached to the rat race and the way that stressful lifestyle and just rushing around. We need to continuously remind ourselves to be mindful. And once we get into that habit of being mindful, it does come easier. So that's in terms of being mindful, whether you're spending time with your children, and then meditation is, for me, it's very personal. It's where you reconnect with yourself, and you really, really get to spend time alone. And we need that. Like, we need a break. We need to just sit alone and just reconnect with ourselves. And it's, to me, meditation is quite personal. There's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different apps you can use. And I really think I'm personally on the meditation journey, and I love exploring new ways, different breathing techniques, etc., different apps. And yeah, it's really, I would recommend, learning more about mindfulness and meditation, maybe doing a course. Like, I'm no meditation guru, but I'm 100% a mindful and meditation advocate, for sure.
Thank you, Lydia. I have a couple of questions, because not so long ago, I used to struggle myself while practicing meditation, because I don't know if you've heard of this condition that people can sometimes be very hyperactive and cannot focus. So I used to feel that perhaps I'm quite hyper. I can't focus. I can't concentrate on meditation. So I couldn't sit still and meditate. And I kind of wrote it off. I thought meditation is not for me. I can never do it. And what has helped is, I think there are different types of meditation, isn't it? And the one that has helped me personally is the mindfulness meditation, where it is also a type of guided meditation. And there are nowadays a lot of apps on that. And since I've started practicing guided meditation, it has helped a lot. So I think, do you know if there are any different types of meditation or any apps you could recommend for people? I do also, there is podcasts out there, which I have done, but if in your practice, would you recommend any apps or anything for meditation?
Yeah, so actually, I know the whole interview is about myself, but my daughter has actually got attention deficit hyperactive disorder, which is ADHD. So I've tried to get her into meditating, and she just can't do it. So they are, like you said, mindful meditation. So her way of meditating is escaping into her artwork. So if you do have anything like ADHD and you can't focus, there are different ways of doing the mindful meditation. So it's basically anything where you can focus on and give like your whole self. So whether that be dancing, art, going for a walk, just one-on-one, where you can be that creative and be mindful, one-on-one, engaging and really being focused and connected on what the art or the practice that you're doing. My daughter actually gave me this tip, which is also which actually really is amazing, is if you ever go have a bubble bath or a bath, you light a candle, relax, and then you literally lie and you stare at the candle little flame, and that is also a form of being mindful and meditating. It's amazing. And in terms of apps, there's so many. The one that I really like, that another single mom actually told me about, is it's called Smiling Minds, and it's an Australian app, and it's free, and it's actually by the Australian government. And I really like that one. There's Breathe, there's Insight Timer, there's Calm, there's the Headspace one. There's another one called Mediatainment, which has got a whole lot of stuff on. So yeah, if you just Google, and then, but the Smiling Mind one I really like, because it's almost like they do the meditation, but they're actually teaching you about it. Yeah.
Thank you. We have one of our listeners, one of our live viewers on Facebook has mentioned a comment. His name is Sarmila Sinha. He has mentioned that mindfulness is almost like speaking or talking to your own consciousness. I think it's a beautiful description about mindfulness. And I'm just checking the comments if there are any questions, so people can type in if you have got any questions for Lidia. So let's move on. Lidia, can you tell us a bit more about your upcoming projects? I know you're very busy, but tell us what you are up to.
Yeah, so I'm obviously like a personal trainer and a life coach, and I'm really focusing on a lot of online program where I can incorporate personal training and coaching. So that's one of my big upcoming projects that I'm going to be working on. My whole viewpoint is holistic coaching. So where I look at yourself as an entirety. So not only body, but body, mind, emotions, etc. So that's one of my big projects that I'm working on. We'll be launching it hopefully in the upcoming future. I'm also working on some nutritional projects that will be coming up. And then also I've recently started a series called Live with Lids. So my name is Lidia, and obviously short it's Lids, and a lot of my friends call me Lids. So I thought, well, why not start an Instagram live show? It's an inspirational show. So the first series I interviewed a whole lot of guests, and it's basically around 5 aspects that are really, really, well, that actually helped me transform my life, like totally around. So I'll talk about that. The second series is coming up next week, and yeah, very excited. And then hopefully to do a series 3. The next series I will actually be sharing more about my journey and my story and my life, but it will be around the aspects on like fitness, nutrition, mindset, mindfulness, and inspirational fun. So it's very exciting. And yeah, that's sort of what I'm up to at the moment. Lots of other stuff in the background, but yeah.
Yes. So that's really nice to know, Lidia. And we have a question from one of our viewers. They're asking, so if you could elaborate on this concept of mindfulness as being conscious. I think what Sujal is trying to ask is, sometimes we are not present in the current moment. And the whole concept of mindfulness is to bring your awareness to the present moment, is being fully conscious. So would you like to elaborate on this question, please?
Yeah, so I think if you, like, just to give an example of mindful being aware, if you go outside into your garden, or if you go for a walk, we do something in a habitual way. So like, for instance, you walk without even knowing you walk. You drive a car, you just do it automatically. Your mind is so trained to doing it. You do it without thinking. So talking on the phone, driving a car, walking, breathing, it's like a breathing your body does, but you do it in a habit form. So when you become mindful and more aware, is you almost like you focusing or zooming in on the action that you're doing, and it's almost as if you go slower. So for instance, if you had to do mindful driving, you would sit and think, okay, I'm now in the car and I'm thinking, like, I'm touching the steering wheel and I'm feeling the leather or whatever steering wheel you have. I'm now going to put in the key. So you just backtrack, but you think and you be aware of every single process, every single movement. And that just helps you be present. It helps you be aware. It helps you focus more. And it helps relieve stress, because it's almost like it brings your whole entirety and yourself into a calmer and a slower pace and a slower mindset. So even when you go outside, like, you can look at the sky. We take the sky for granted and just look up at the sky and go, wow. And breathe in and feel, like, listen to the sounds, really just be present. So that's the whole, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's sort of just in short.
It definitely does. I would just wanted to add one or two more extra points is, when you mentioned about the sensations of touching the steering wheel, switching the key on, and so whatever senses you're using, if you're eating, you're using the sensation of touch and as well as the taste and hear. So all of your senses are heightened. So you're trying to feel, hear, listen, see, smell, taste, touch, everything in a more um, in a whole in a wholesome way. You're paying full attention. It's bringing your full attention to what you're doing. Because what happens in our day-to-day life, our attention is usually, we are distracted always, and our mind is traveling, million miles an hour. We are in a different city, even though we could be driving, but we are, most of the time we are thinking of things from the past, of planning for the future, doing things which are way ahead of us. So instead of focusing on the past or future, mindfulness is about bringing your mind's awareness to the present moment. And with it, the way it will help is using your senses to do it. And I think probably this is the way I would describe it as well. So, Lidia, if people would like to get in touch with you, how would they do it?
So I am on Instagram. So if you just go onto Instagram and you type in Lidia, so it's Lidia with an underscore Peto, Peto, and then a number 1. And my email address, you can link directly from my Instagram or just DM me. And then I'm also on Facebook on Holistic Fitness and Coaching. And again, all the links to email, contact me, call me, or whatever are on Facebook and Instagram. I am on Twitter, LinkedIn, all over the social media, but the main ones are Instagram and Facebook. You can connect with me there. Even if it's just to come say, hey, I listened to your interview with Sarmila.
Yes. So it was such a pleasure, Lidia, and thank you so much for coming today. I know you're so busy, but thanks for taking the time out. I would like to remind our viewers and our listeners that I will be coming on for another 2 weeks more, and that will be the end of this season of the COVID live discussions. And I know that all over the world, things are trying, the businesses opening, people are starting to go back to work. So for all of you who are actually transitioning from the period of home back to work, stay safe, follow social distancing, and take care. And thank you so much, Lidia. Thanks.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It was lovely to catch up.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thanks. Bye.
Bye.